Welcome to Celebrity Style Magazine Podcast, the source of the latest in celebrity news and entertainment. Today, we're diving into some serious drama that's got everyone talking: Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and the Super Bowl.
It certainly caught my attention.
We've got this really impassioned commentary video breaking down some pretty serious accusations against executives from Kendrick Lamar's former label, Top Dog Entertainment,
Right.
better known as TDE, and suggesting a possible link to, of all people, Drake.
Right. And what's fascinating here is that this video's core argument is that this lawsuit, which, by the way, was originally filed months ago, is being strategically used to try and damage Kendrick's reputation, just days before his huge Super Bowl performance.
Hold on, a calculated smear campaign before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely intrigued now. So what are the claims against TDE exactly?
The video doesn't dive into specifics for legal reasons, which is understandable, but it highlights the seriousness of the accusations. They suggest that these aren't just minor contract disputes, but allegations with potentially significant consequences.
Okay, that definitely raises the stakes. But how does Drake fit into all of this?
Well, the video claims that some individuals involved in the lawsuit seem to have connections to Drake's label OVO Sound. They specifically point to, name one of the managers named in the lawsuit, who also represents Drake's father.
Okay, I see where they're going with this. So they're suggesting that this manager, with ties to both Drake's father and this lawsuit against Kendrick's former label, is somehow orchestrating a hit job on Kendrick.
Essentially, yes. It's definitely a bold claim.
It is, and to be fair, it sounds a little like a conspiracy theory at first, but the timing, is incredibly suspicious. Why would this lawsuit suddenly gain traction right before the Super Bowl?
Exactly. The video really emphasizes that timing. It argues that this isn't just a coincidence. Someone's pushing this narrative for a specific reason, and they see Drake's camp as the most likely culprit.
Okay, but is there anything beyond the timing in this manager connection? Is there any other evidence linking Drake to this?
Well, the video goes even further, claiming that some lyrics from Drake's freestyle earlier this year could be interpreted as him hinting at this whole controversy, like he's foreshadowing these events.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
That's quite a stretch, don't you think? I mean, lyrics can be interpreted in so many ways. Couldn't that just be reading too much into things?
You're right. It's definitely a subjective interpretation.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the video doesn't present any concrete proof of Drake's direct involvement.
So it's more about raising questions and connecting the dots, which I have to admit they've done a pretty compelling job of so far.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating. It's forcing us to think critically about the information we're consuming and to consider the possibility that there might be more to this story than meets the eye.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate for a second, because couldn't this just be an unfortunate coincidence? I mean, lawsuits happen all the time, and maybe the timing is completely unrelated to the Super Bowl.
Of course, that's a possibility. And we haven't heard from Drake or his representatives to get their side of the story. It's important to remember that we're only hearing one perspective right now.
That's a good point. So we're essentially dealing with allegations and speculation at this point. But even if we take Drake out of the equation, the timing of this lawsuit resurfacing is still pretty strange.
Absolutely. And that's where the video starts to delve into some ethical questions about how far people are willing to go to undermine their competition, especially in a high-stakes industry like music.
Right, because even if this isn't some orchestrated takedown attempt, it still raises concerns about using legal proceedings to potentially damage someone's reputation, especially at such a crucial moment in their career.
Exactly. And that's what makes this situation so complex.
Yeah.
There are layers to this: the legal aspect, the potential for reputational damage, and the ethical implications of using the legal system as a weapon.
It's definitely a lot to unpack.
It is. But I think it's important to have these conversations. This whole situation brings to light some of the darker aspects of the music industry and the intense pressure that artists face, particularly in today's hyper-competitive landscape. It certainly shines a light on the lengths some people might go to get ahead.
And the video doesn't hold back on calling out what it sees as a double standard within Drake's fan base. They argue that this same community has been relatively silent on other serious issues, but are quick to jump on this bandwagon and amplify this particular story.
Right. They seem to be suggesting that there's a certain level of hypocrisy at play. The video highlights that some fans are eager to believe these accusations against Kendrick, even without concrete proof, while they've been less vocal about similar allegations against other artists in the past.
So it's almost like they're using this lawsuit as a weapon to attack Kendrick, while conveniently ignoring other controversies that might not fit their narrative.
That's the implication, yes. And it raises questions about how social media and fan culture can be manipulated to push certain agendas.
It's definitely a reminder that we should always be critical of the information we're consuming online, especially when it comes to celebrity gossip and drama. It's easy to get caught up in the hype and jump to conclusions without considering all sides of the story.
Absolutely. And I think the video is urging viewers to be more discerning,
Yeah.
to look beyond the headlines and the sensationalism, and to really consider the potential consequences of blindly following a narrative without questioning its validity.
That's a good point. We can't just blindly accept everything we see and hear, especially online.
Exactly. Now, shifting gears a bit, the video also argues that this whole situation could have a negative impact on hip-hop's reputation as a whole.
Oh, how so?
Well, their point is that if hip-hop becomes known for these kinds of controversies and smear campaigns, it could deter brands, sponsors, and even collaborators from wanting to be associated with the genre. It could create this perception that hip-hop is all about drama and negativity.
That makes sense.
That
I mean, no one wants to be associated with a brand that's constantly embroiled in controversy.
Yeah, exactly. And the video suggests that this type of behavior could ultimately limit opportunities for artists within the genre. They argue that it reinforces negative stereotypes and undermines the progress that hip-hop has made in gaining mainstream acceptance and respect.
It's a sobering thought. It's like they're saying that these actions could potentially hold the entire genre back.
Right. And I think that's a concern that many artists and fans share. They want to see hip-hop thrive and evolve, but they also recognize that these kinds of controversies can have a ripple effect, damaging not just the individuals involved, but the entire culture.
So what's the video's takeaway message then? What do they want viewers to do?
Well, amidst all the speculation and finger-pointing, they end on a note of compassion. They urge viewers to separate genuine concerns from manufactured drama and to prioritize the well-being of those who might be affected by these allegations.
That's a good reminder. In the midst of all this drama, it's easy to forget that there are real people involved who might be experiencing real pain and hardship.
Exactly. And I think the video is calling for a more nuanced and empathetic approach to these kinds of situations. They're asking us to consider the human cost of these controversies and to avoid adding fuel to the fire with speculation and judgment.
Speaking of nuance, I have to ask about the elephant in the room, the NFL. They're letting Kendrick perform at the Super Bowl, despite this controversy swirling around him.
You're right. That's a huge point. Their decision to stand by Kendrick speaks volumes, especially in today's climate where organizations are often quick to distance themselves from any whiff of controversy.
It's almost like they're saying, we trust Kendrick, we believe in his talent and his message, and we're not going to let this distract from his moment.
Exactly. And it highlights the power dynamics at play. The NFL is this massive, influential organization, and their decision to support Kendrick sends a powerful message. It's like they're saying that they're not going to be swayed by these kinds of tactics and that they believe in giving artists a platform even when they're facing challenges.
That's a pretty powerful statement.
It is. It suggests that they see Kendrick as more than just an entertainer, but as a cultural figure who deserves their support. It's almost like a counter-narrative to the one being pushed by those who are trying to discredit him.
So in a way, the NFL is choosing to focus on the positive, on Kendrick's artistry and his contribution to the culture, rather than getting bogged down in the drama.
Exactly. And I think that's a valuable perspective to consider. It's a reminder that we have a choice in how we respond to these kinds of situations. We can choose to amplify the negativity, or we can choose to focus on the positive and support those who are trying to make a difference.
It's definitely refreshing to see that kind of support, especially when it feels like negativity and drama often overshadow the good.
It is. And it reminds us that there's always more to the story, more perspectives to consider. We shouldn't let ourselves be swept away by the loudest voices or the most sensational headlines.
This deep dive has been quite a ride. I mean, we started with this video alleging a calculated smear campaign against Kendrick Lamar, and now we're talking about the NFL's powerful statement of support.
It's been a fascinating exploration of the complexities of the music industry, the power of narrative, and the importance of critical thinking.
We've covered so much ground. The lawsuit, the timing, the alleged Drake connection, the ethical implications, the impact on hip-hop's image, and now the NFL's stance. It's a lot to process.
It is, and I think what's really valuable about this deep dive is that it's not just about gossip or drama. It's about sparking a conversation about the forces at play within the music industry and how they shape the narratives we consume.
Absolutely. This whole situation is a stark reminder that we need to be more discerning consumers of information, especially in the age of social media where things can spread so quickly.
Right. It's easy to get caught up in the outrage cycle and jump to conclusions without considering all the facts. We need to question everything, do our own research, and form our own opinions based on evidence, not just headlines.
And perhaps most importantly, to remember that there are real people involved in these situations. We need to approach these kinds of controversies with empathy and compassion, recognizing that there are often more sides to the story than we might initially see.
I couldn't agree more. It's easy to get caught up in the drama and forget that these aren't just characters in a story, but real individuals with lives and careers that can be impacted by these events.
So we've dissected this video, we've explored the different angles, and we've even brought the NFL into the conversation. But there's still one big question that lingers. If this is a calculated smear campaign, what does it say about the lengths some artists are willing to go to in today's hyper-competitive music landscape?
That's the million-dollar question. It really forces us to confront the ethics of competition and the pressure that comes with fame and success.
Like, at what point does the pursuit of success become so ruthless that it crosses ethical boundaries? Is there a line, and if so, where is it drawn?
Those are questions that we all need to grapple with, not just in the music industry, but in any field where competition is fierce and the stakes are high.
Well, this deep dive has definitely given us a lot to ponder. It's been insightful, thought-provoking, and honestly, a little unsettling.
It's a reminder that the music industry, for all its glamour and excitement, is still a business. And like any business, it has its share of complexities, challenges, and ethical dilemmas.
It's also a testament to the power of narrative and how it can be used to shape public opinion. We've seen how a single video can spark a conversation, raise questions, and challenge our assumptions.
And that's what makes platforms like this so important. They allow us to have these critical conversations, to explore multiple perspectives, and to hopefully gain a deeper understanding of the forces shaping the world around us.
Well said. What stood out to you in this whole situation? What are your thoughts on the ethics of competition and the role of social media in shaping narratives? We encourage you to continue the conversation, share your own insights, and stay curious.
There's always more to learn, more perspectives to consider, and more ways to make a positive impact.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.